Check me out. Look, I know perfect timing feels like I'm too late. And I know I'm still great in spite of my mistakes. You know it's authentic every rhyme I say.
Yo, what's going on, PTM? Anyway, no, I always get that like awkward, but anyway, we rolling with it. What's going on, PTM fam? Welcome to another episode of Perfect Time Multisport. Today, I'm super excited to bring some really special guests to you all and share their story. So we have Noah and Skylar. I won't really go into their intro because I really want to make sure we're creating a space and allowing them to tell them about ourselves, tell us about themselves. So, can we start with Skylar? Can you tell us about yourself? Where you're from? Who are you? Where you at now?
So what's up, everyone? I'm Skylar Smith. I'm a recent graduate from Howard University, and I'm a former women's team swimming and diving captain. I'm, soul searching right now for my career path. I'm going to grad school probably next year for something in the sports realm, sports medicine realm. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Hey. My name is Noah Nicholas. I'm also a recent grad of Howard University, class of 2020. I'm also a former men's team captain for the swimming and diving program there. I majored in sports medicine. Skylar and I majored in sports medicine, minored in chemistry.
Okay.
All right, we made it. Yeah.
Y'all got those interns.
Right. Right now, we're working on the Gorée Project, but we're going to get into that. But right now, for me personally, I'm in EMT courses right now. So I'm working on that. That should be done in December. And then hopefully I get enough patient and care experience so I could apply for a physician assistant program in about 2 to 3 years from now. So, yep, that's where I'm at.
To hear it.
I love that. So I know both of you were former captains at the program at Howard University. So I'm curious, what is your event or what is your distance? What do they call it in swimming? Excuse my ignorance.
Our events, yeah. What's our events? Me and Noah are complete opposites. Me and Noah. I'm a sprinter. I only do 50, 100, and if you can get me in a 200, that's like a miracle right there. So I'm short and fast. Right. I do freestyle mostly. I try to tap into butterfly a little bit just to get a different type of workout, but just freestyle for me.
For me, it's like Skylar said, it's totally opposite. I'm a mile swimmer. I'm the distance swimmer. So I really do the 1650, which is the mile in swimming, and then I do the 4 IM, which is individual medley. It's a mixture of all the strokes. So you break it down, and you spread the race apart so you get all 4 strokes in. And then I do the 200 IM as well. So those 3 races, it's a killer. But I love it. It's my thing. I could never sprint. I could never do it. I just wasn't as fast. So I was like, well, the mile is my event now. So
like I as a triathlete, I do not like going to do the short courses. I like to go ahead and do the longer courses because I know I can get faster as we progress, but I can't go out there and just bust out.
Right.
So I'm
right. Yeah, it's just some people are made for it and some people aren't. It's just we gotta ease our way into it. Then we're ready to race,
Yeah, no, I just be like, I'm like, am I done? That's enough.
So, question for the both of you, for people who might not know, what are those 4 strokes in the medley, and what's the progression of the strokes throughout the medley?
Great question.
Okay, so in the IM parts of the the 2 IM and the 4 IM, you do butterfly, the first leg, backstroke, the second leg, breaststroke, and then freestyle. So butterfly, I don't know if people know, but that's when you bring your arms over and you're sweeping. All right, backstroke, you're on your back you're doing one arm at a time, and then breaststroke is like you're a frog. That's the best way I can describe
Right.
it.
Everybody like
Freestyle is like front crawl, where you actually like in swim lessons you learn how to swim front crawl. So yeah, so
Helpful.
yeah, it IM makes it interesting. So after the mile, I like the IM because I could switch up strokes and everything.
I definitely understand. So I know that swimming is a big part of your lives now, especially as captains of this great university. But I'm curious, what were you all always swimmers, or did you have like a first love that wasn't swimming?
For me, I started off as a land person. I did like soccer and I did like basketball. I was just always in sports. My family's all in sports. But then I saw swimming and I was like, I guess I'll try this little sport and see what it does. Because I've always liked being in the water, but I needed something to do in between seasons. So I'm like, this is swimming. Let's try this. And I ended up being like really good and just progressed from there. But I started really late. I started like when I was 15. A lot of people start when they're like 6, 8. So I'm a late bloomer, but I made it.
That's what matters most. All right. How about you, Noah?
So yeah, like I started with every other sport besides swimming. I was a basketball player, football player. I did bowling for 6 years before I started swimming. I was actually I was a really good bowler, actually, y'all. Like, literally, I used to make this joke all the time. If I wasn't a swimmer, I would get a scholarship for bowling at Howard if they had a
Howard
team.
gets full rides for bowling.
Yeah, they get full rides. So I definitely would have got that.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, so they have a women's bowling team. But yeah, so I was a bowler for 6 years, and then I kind of fell out of that. And for 2 years, I really didn't do anything. And my parents were like, "Yo, you got to do something. Like, you just can't lay around the house and watch TV all day." And so they knew I loved the water, and they just signed me up for swim lessons first, and then I got into my local boys and girls club, and then that's when I got introduced into the actually swimming, and I just fell in love with it. And I started pretty late too. I started when I was almost 13, and a lot of swimmers they usually start when they're like 5, 6. So I was playing catch up the whole time pretty much. But I made it. Skylar and I made it. We just finished at D1 college, so it was really a really great experience.
I love that. So, did you all come from an athletic household, or did you just find this as these activities that you were doing and fell into it?
All my family does sports, but no one swims. Like no one in my immediate or extended family, no one swims. So no, we were just going into blind. Like we were just like, oh, you just got to swim some laps and do some flip turns. So I just kind of just joined it just because it looked fun and I like swimming. But yeah, no one in my family swims. But like my brothers play baseball, my sister does cheer and tennis. So
Okay.
Yeah, and for me, my brother did baseball like when he was in middle school, but no one really played high school sports or college sports. So I think only my great grandfather he played basketball for Howard. But other than that, I didn't even meet him. I didn't even get the chance to meet him. But that's what I heard from my father. So. But yeah, other than that, I was the only one pretty much that just kind of stayed active and like in sports and stuff. So
That's major legacy to have your grandfather have attended Howard.
Right.
Is that true for the both of you? Is legacy attendance at an HBCU part of your families?
My dad went. Oh, sorry, no.
No, go ahead.
My dad went to Southern. My brother just is now going to Southern this semester as a freshman. But me, my dad, and brother are my only HBCU like legacy. No one from Howard. I don't know anyone that went to Howard or anything like that. So
yeah,
no
for me, my my mom went to Howard. So you can imagine like the college process for me. She's like Howard. But also my siblings, they went to an HBCU. They went to FAM. She was more HBCU type of person. She was like, you need to go to HBCU. So, but my sister went to FAM. My brother went to FAMU. And so yeah. So I didn't. The only reason I didn't go to FAMU because they didn't have a swim team. Howard is the only one that has a swim team.
Okay.
Only HBCU that has a swim team. So
That's good to know. So we know how you got to Howard, Noah, but I'm curious, Skylar, how did you end up at Howard?
My story is so weird. So I was just looking for colleges. I wanted to get out of LA so badly. I said I can always come back home if I don't like it, but I need like a totally different environment. And then I was like, all my previous schools were like, predominantly white or other races. So I was like, okay, let me go to HBCU and get that different experience. So then I went to like do the HBCU tours a little bit. And then I came to Howard during homecoming. I said, oh, this is where I need to be.
Right.
This is fun. And then Howard was like my number one choice since like sophomore year of high school. And then that was it. So my swim team story is a little weird, but we'll get into that later.
All right. So hold up. So when did you come to DC to go to this homecoming?
I came my sophomore year of high school. And I was like, this little kid, like, yes! Like, me and my mom and my cousin. Because my cousin, she wanted to do the HBCU tour also. Okay. And so I was like, I'm just going to hop on the trip. I'm coming too. And then, so she was looking at Howard. She ended up going to Temple University. And then I said, no, I'm staying here.
Okay. So getting back into the pool, though, I'm curious. Before I turn it over to Danny real quick, what are some of your first memories in the pool? Right, I know you both played soccer, basketball, some other sports, but the swimming pool is like your bread and butter. What are your first memories in the pool? And we can start with Noah.
Okay. For me, it was my pool in my backyard. I'm lucky to have access to my pool in my backyard. So a lot of people didn't have pools in their backyard. So my parents introduced me into the water, but then they took that step further and got me like into swim lessons at my summer camp. And I remember just like we used to go on these like mini field trips to the pool every Friday, and we used to have a whole bunch of fun. I also took swim lessons there too. So those were my memories of the pool. And I used to joke back then, say I love the smell of the chlorine because there was a pool nearby. So, I mean, I just fell in love with swimming. It just took me so long to actually get into the sport, like when I was 12. So, yeah.
Got it. And Skylar?
For me, I did swim lessons when I was really young. So I kind of just always remember being in the water. I have in my backyard also, so I would swim all the time. I would beg to swim. I used to like have this thing where I would put flowers around the pool and be like, Lord, please let me swim today. But my first like experiences with a swim team, I just remember being so like confused. I came to practice with like a Disney swim cap and these ruffles on my swimsuit like I was doing something. And I was just like, how are they doing this? Like, they're doing flip turns. I'm like pushing off the bottom to like catch up. It was a mess. I was like, just a mess.
So curious, when did you like realize that you were good at it then?
I don't know. I just kind of kept going. I think it was so new. I just wanted to get better and better. And I kind of like, you're racing against the clock. So, and I'm very competitive. So I don't even know what point I was like, oh, I'm good enough to keep going to the next level. I just kept going to different teams. Like, no, I'm just going to train. I used to be obsessed. If I couldn't go to practice, I would be crying in the car. Like, I think it was just like something new I wanted to dominate. So,
yeah. That's like, oh.
Here.
Yeah, same for me, honestly. Like, when I got introduced to swimming, I mean, I think just becoming to practice every day and like trying to improve myself every day really got me hooked on it. But it was also like a really good outlet for me. So it wasn't necessarily like I was like super good. I felt like I could go forward and that was motivating me. It was more like this was like an outlet for me. I could like separate school, separate all my struggles, and just come here and like work my tail off trying to get better. And it wasn't so much about time; it was more about progress for me, especially when I was like in high school. Because I, like I said, I was trying to play catch up, so I really couldn't look at my competitors and say like, wow, this other 17-year-old is so much more faster than me because he's been swimming for like 12 years and I just started like 5 years ago. So I just really focused on the process of it, and that's what really got me through all these years of swimming.
Love that.
It's amazing.
So thinking of you in your answer, Noah, you kept saying the word outlet. It was an outlet for you, right? Talk a little bit about that. Like, what made it an outlet, and how was it an outlet for you at that time? And also, how were you mature enough to realize at 15, 16, probably 17 years old that you can't compare yourself in the way that you traditionally would in sports? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So I really got a lot of that from my mom. My mom, I mean, to tell you a little background, we used to drive about 45 minutes to get to the pool, one way. So down and back would be an hour and 30 minutes, which is a long, very long commute, especially like after school and you have morning practice and afternoon practice. So my mom and I would have a lot of talking time. So she would just talk to me. I would talk to her about like how I'm feeling in the water, how I'm feeling with my teammates, and how I'm feeling in the sport. And she would just try to calm my mind down and say like, "Hey, you just started. You can actually do this. You're actually getting better as you go, and your time. It will be your time one day." And so I think my mom had a really big effect on that. And then it became an outlet for me because I think I was just kind of stressed out with school a lot, especially trying to get ready for college. I remember like the college application process was super stressful, but having those 2 hours a day where I can just really just focus on my technique or focus on what I'm doing in the pool really just took my mind, at least for 2 hours, off of anything I had going on throughout the day, and that was just powerful. Like I can just talk to my coach, and we can just talk about swimming, something I enjoy, something I love.
Yeah.
And when I really felt like I was getting not just better at something I love, but just like I was able to do something that I really loved, and no matter if I got better or not, like during that time, it was really like I'm gonna stick with this for a very long time. So
Love that. Love that. And Danny?
So, you know, part of what your answer made me think about, Noah, that driving distance to access a pool is real. It's an obstacle. For example, for me, my mom was somebody who worked very far from school, and having access to driving to after school sports in that way was not something that we could do. So thinking about some of those obstacles and some of those, real distances that you work and time commitments that you were having to engage in, I'm curious about what did support look like for you, one beyond your mom, for you, Noah, and for Skylar, what did support look like for you around swimming and engaging in the sport to the extent that it got you both to being the captains of your teams in an HBCU?
okay. Scott, you want to go?
No, you can start.
Okay.
Gathering me in my head.
For me, outside of my mom, it was really, especially when I got to Howard, especially when I got to swimming at Howard, it was really my teammates that really motivated me to continue and to get better and I felt like I was really having fun with the sport because I think a lot of times, especially in swimming, if you start early, I hear all these stories where you start early and you find that you burn out and you're not loving the sport as much. But when I got to Howard and just the culture at Howard, and Ohio University swimming and diving was just amazing, and it just really made me love the sport even more because I mean, we were going through swim practices together. We were going through hard sets together, but we were always laughing, always having a good time. And so, like, see, Skylar's laughing now because she realizes that, like, because, like, we were crazy. We were awesome.
Goofy. Like,
like, it was just amazing. Like, those memories, I think we'll cherish for a lifetime because they made the sport so much more fun. And I think that's really important to have that on a swim team because when you're going up and down the pool all day, every day, it could be tiresome, it could be boring. So when you have those teammates that are helping you, push you, just making you laugh, man, it makes the sport like amazing and fun.
Yeah. So, like, I remember when we initially met and had a conversation, we told you guys that we were always out there at those swim meets. Don't have any real personal connection to Howard outside of the fact that we're black and brown, and we want to make sure we see y'all succeed. So we know firsthand what that fun looked like. So definitely understand. But same question for you, Skylar. Like, what support look like for you, especially knowing that swimming is not something black and brown kids do. I'm curious, what support looked like for you growing up in the early stages, and what did it look like for you as you transitioned as an adult?
Yeah, so my childhood swimming and college swimming is completely different. Like when I started in high school, it wasn't a lot of support with me. My parents were always like, "Yes, you can do it," but they don't know nothing about swimming, so it's not like they can give me pointers or anything. And my swimming environment was like, "Oh, they're here for themselves." Like I don't know anyone from any past swim teams, except a couple people from my high school, my club team. Like they were just there to work out and they left. It wasn't social or anything. So for me, what drove me was I just want to get better. I don't care. I didn't come here to make friends. We don't have to be friends. I just came here to get fast. And so I was just so held on, I want to win. I want to win. I wasn't worried about anybody else, which is, thank Lord I had that. So I was very self-motivated. But when I went to Howard, I said, oh, this is fun. I look forward to seeing everyone. We probably spend 95% of our day together. We wake up, drag ourselves to morning practice, eat breakfast together, go to class together. Me and Noah have all the same classes, then go back after afternoon weight training or afternoon swim. So when I came to Howard, the support system was so great. It was so fun. I didn't realize how fun swimming could be. I just kind of thought it was oh, it's individual sport. We still have our team atmosphere relays, but when I came to Howard, I really got to experience that team atmosphere, which was so fun.
Right.
What was it like for the both of you to balance, such a rigorous training schedule alongside academia at a rigorous school?
Ooh.
Hard.
I mean, it was struggle. It was such a struggle. Listen. We come in freshman year. We got study hall, 8 hours every week. We're spending the night in the library.
No, we literally study and then walk to morning practice from the library. It was not.
It was hard. The student athlete experience is definitely a challenging one, especially coming in as a freshman because you're hit with so many things. I gotta wake up on my own now. I don't got my mom to wake me up. Or things just handling stuff on your own. And and then you have a sport on top of that, and then you have 15 plus hours of classes. So it's definitely a struggle, and you have to really time manage, and then you also have to work with the people that you're with. You'd be like, hey, can we have a study group session? Or hey, like, can you help me out with this concept? And so really, it builds a lot of teamwork. I felt like going through that struggle, because we were utilizing each other. We were like, hey, take this teacher, don't take this teacher. Or we were like, hey, I got the textbook for this, I'm gonna send you the PDF so you don't have to buy it at the bookstore, things like that. So I think like that team atmosphere and that team aspect to the student athlete really helped us with school, even though it's such a challenge trying to balance everything out.
Yeah, it was good because a lot of like our teammates will have the same major as you. Like for me and Noah, we'll say that, oh, let's schedule our classes together so we can kind of do our homework together, study for tests, so it's a lot easier, not just on your own. So that helped a lot. But boy, I was tired. I was gonna put that studying right before practice. But like looking back, it just helped me for the future now, where I time manage a lot better. So now I feel like I have all this time on my hands. I don't have to wake up every day. I don't have practice at 4 o'clock. Like I have so much time now.
So on that same point, like, what advice do you have for the new incoming class that's coming in virtually and is going to have a completely different experience of what that community is as a result of living remote? Now that, and I ask that also in part because of how you've been training for the Gorée Project. So from that space, knowing what it's like to commit mentally to something so deeply, but also during a pandemic, right? So what advice do you have for the new incoming class?
Yeah, so like you said, we're going through a lot. We're hit with a lot of different things, especially during this time, and people going back to school, and especially the freshmen not being able to experience that freshman year, which is really crucial because you get to meet everybody and you get to have a fun time. We have this fun thing called Freshman Week at Howard, where you don't have any classes. Freshmen come a week early. They don't have any classes, and they could just do whatever they want, party, get to know everybody. They have like little setups or meetups with different clubs and things like that. So it's a really good time, and they don't get to experience that the way they normally would. And I think my advice would be um, to balance everything out as best you can, but also like take time for yourself throughout the day to do what you want to do to recharge. Because we're not like socially, we're not getting that social aspect anymore. I think it's important to do things that make you feel better, make you more motivated to go into the next day doing all these different things. Because we're sitting in the house all day, you could just lay in bed, not train, not do your work, but you have to make sure that you're just taking time out of the day for yourself, doing whatever you want to do for that little bit of time, and then doing the work that you need to do. And also just creating a schedule. I think that's really important too. So plan that me time in your schedule as well.
Yeah, for me, I would say like take every day at a time. Don't think about it as like, oh, I have 10 classes today or something. That's not possible, but something crazy. I have 10 classes today. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. But I'm like, okay, just take one thing at a time so you're not overwhelmed, and find like the little things in life that make you happy. For like swim team, I'm like, dang, our season is so long. But I'm like, okay, if I just get through Friday or Saturday, I'll be good. Like, so just take one day at a time, and then network. Like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Howard is really big on networking and know when to ask for help. People are always there to help you. Howard is very family oriented. So everyone's always there if you need a study partner, if you need help on the homework, like, you know what I mean? So just get to know everyone. That's what I say. Make all the friends in the world. I'm big on friends. No one knows.
That's her.
That's real. Shoot, speaking of networking, we actually asked that question because we have a very personal connection. My little cousin, we drilled it into her, like you said, Noah, your mother is like HBCU. So my little cousin, she came down to DC, up to DC for a visit, and she's now an incoming freshman at Howard University. So
Wow.
I heard it come here, but for folks, if you're an incoming freshman, look out for Jordan Harris. That's my baby.
Woo! Go
Aw.
cousin!
That's what's up. That's really cool. I hope she enjoys this.
She's gonna be super embarrassed when she hears this episode.
Right?
But
Oh my gosh.
but thinking about not only the incoming freshmen, but taking it a step back further, we know that there are kids that are swimming, right? So people that are just getting into the pool, in particular, Black Kids Swim, in particular, the shirt that you have on, Skylar. So can you tell us about this organization and how you're working with them, when you started working with them, and what they do? Starting with Skylar.
Okay, so Black Kids Swim is a nonprofit organization they're here to help bring more diversity into the swim world. How I came in contact with them is through Howard Swimming, because we used to do a lot of community service projects with them. So I knew what their mission was. Like, yes, we're trying to get more Black and brown swimmers. So I always knew about them. I didn't know who was the face of them, but I was like, yes, Black Kids Swim all the way. But then as I get into Gorée Project, when I'm like, oh, like, it's Ebony and Edward, like, but yeah, they're a nonprofit organization, and they're just here to bring more diversity all around. They started because their daughter was in the swim world and they knew nothing about swimming. And when they were like online looking for Black swimmers, it was like all negative things, like, oh, kids drowning and stuff like that. So like, oh, we're gonna change the narrative, and then that's how Black Kids Swim came. Such a cool story.
Yep. And so, Skylar mentioned a little bit what we're doing now. We started the Gorée Project. It's the latest initiative by Black Kids Swim. We started in May. So we're going strong for about 4 months now. But the Gorée Project is a 3.5-mile race from the mainland of Africa, Dakar, Senegal, West Africa, to the island of Gorée, which was used as a port for enslaved Africans to be shipped to the Americas during the Atlantic slave trade. And so Africans that could escape the ships and escape the island of Gorée had to swim back to the mainland of Africa, Dakar, Senegal, which is 3.5 miles. Now the Senegalese, they commemorate that journey in reverse, and so they swim from Dakar, Senegal, to the island of Gorée. So it's super important, and Skylar and I are very interested in this project because we want to display this image on the African American community. I think it's important. I think we think it's important that African Americans see this and see a whole bunch of Africans and even us African Americans swimming to change that narrative that Black people can't swim. So that's one of the reasons why we're going over there. But the second reason is because we want to bring unity to the African diaspora. We're separated by the Atlantic Ocean, but we deal with a lot of the same struggles. The African American community and the Africans deal with a lot of the same struggles, and so we want to bring unity in that, and we want to connect with their culture.
That's amazing. Can you both share with us a little bit more about what the approach to the Gorée Project has been? Because outside of the training space, there's been a really strong educational component that is unique for a team that's going to do an athletic sport or an athletic event. So would you guys be able to share with us a little bit about that educational piece and cultural piece as well? And with that, Skylar, if you can get started.
Yes, so we have a lot of meetings, a lot of historians. We just talked to Dr. Kevin Dawson. He's so cool. He wrote a book called, what is it called?
Undercurrents of
Earn
Power.
Currents of Power. And it's about like Africans, how they first started swimming and just the history behind that. So we talked to a lot of historians, activists. We just talked to a man named Madzo, which is a activist in Senegal. And we also take language classes. I don't know
Voila.
right now.
Can you share something?
Give him a little something,
Oh
something.
my gosh. Okay. All right. Okay.
Nah,
think
you're
the
gonna
first one-
embarrass me.
Right. Okay. No, I know. I think it's Mongifi, right? That's like, how are you?
That's
Or is
like
it?
that's like a
Mongifi?
response.
Or
We're
is it?
learning
Oh,
the
Nagadat.
And Mongifi. Mongifi is
And
the
then you
response.
say Mongifi.
Mongifi.
Okay. And start. Nagadat.
Wow. Wow means yes.
Yeah, that's our favorite thing to say. And Jamarek means okay, so we just be like Jamarek.
We're learning. We're gonna be prepared though. We're definitely
Next time we talk, we're just gonna talk in no English.
Yeah, no English.
No, what has the experience been like for you? And are you, because you're both in different cities, are you having the opportunities to meet the same academics, or because of where you are, you're seeing people who are specialized in the areas that you're in? I also know that with language learning, you're learning with folks from Senegal, but I would love to hear a bit more about your experience.
Yeah, so I think we are doing things that are specific to our area. Skylar can probably tell you a little bit more about who she met about the inkwell, but for me, I met Ernest Shaw. He was an activist and a painter, and we toured around a lot of Confederate sites here in Atlanta. And we're trying to have a conversation about that and about how we feel and the Black Lives Matter movement. So we're trying to captivate everything that's going on during these times as well within the project and how it's significant to the Gorée Project. But really what we're trying to do is we're trying to paint a picture also for the African community, the Senegalese community more specifically, so they can understand the African American struggle as well. And then hopefully as we go over there, we'll understand what they're going through, what their culture is, and things like that. So, yep.
I love that. So you actually just mentioned something about the inkwell. So we talked about the educational piece of this journey, and I'm curious to get into the training piece of this journey. So starting with Skylar again, can you tell us about what your training has been looking like? And yeah, just talk about that for a little bit.
Yes, in the beginning, I was not trying to get in the ocean. I said, you know what? I don't know what I got myself into. Like, I'm more of a pool girl. Like, I like the beach. That's great. But swimming out is a different story. So I was like, I'm about to just do some weight training and run. I never run. So that was like a huge thing for me. So, but then I talked to this man, a coach, and I think he lives in San Diego or Santa Barbara, one of the sands out here. And his name is Najee, Coach Najee. And he is a Black competitive swimmer for open water. So he was like, no, Skylar, you need to get it together. You need to be out there in them waters. I'm so lucky to be in California. My whole coast has ocean. So he put me in contact with another coach with a team called SoCal Tri, and they swim at the Inkwell. So the Inkwell is at Tower 20 at Santa Monica Beach, and it's a 2-block radius on where African Americans could only swim. And that was the only place they could go where they wouldn't be harassed, they wouldn't be lynched, they wouldn't be, discriminated against. They had this literally a 2-block radius where they could swim. So they have like a little plaque right before you get to the tower, just talk about like the first Black surfer and like just the history behind it. So I like how everything ties together, because I've never heard of the Inkwell till I started this, and I lived in California my whole life. Like, that's embarrassing. So, but yes, so that's where I swim. I swim now every morning at 5 a.m. So, which I love it now. It's so fun. It's not scary anymore. Thank you, Lord, because I was so nervous. But that's what I've been I'm a fish now. I'm a real guppy.
Yeah.
So how much are you swimming every day at 5 a.m.?
So it just depends on like the currents and stuff. There's like a buoy. So we swim like buoy to buoy, which is like a mile and a half. But on some days we'll swim longer. Like yesterday I swam 3.2 miles. And I was like, where is the land? I said, where is the buoy? I'm tired. Like, it's gonna be like an hour and a half. And I get seasick. Of course I get seasick. So I'm over here like in the water, like I take like seasick medicine and stuff. So it all depends on the current, and it's getting foggy now in the morning, so we can't see anything. So it just depends on like the conditions. So it's usually between a mile and a half to 2 miles every day.
Is the fog happening in part because of the fires that are taking place in the coast?
Yes. So I'm not sure because usually when there's fires, like just the sky is like gray. It's not like fog. But it like lifts up after a while. Maybe because I go so early, maybe it's foggy, but it's been like that for the past couple of days. I'm not sure. Because we swam, we're like, oh, it'll be fine. We swam in the middle, I couldn't see anything, like no trees, no buildings. I said, oh, I'm lost. Are we lost? Is this okay? So, but yeah, we're good. I swim with someone, so I'm like safe. And I have this huge buoy behind me so people can find me.
That's important. So how are you tracking your swims if you're going out and, just out there? How are you tracking the distances and the workouts?
So I just got an Apple Watch. I love it so much. And it has like literally an open water like app thing. And you just press it. It says like ready, set, go. And then they track my whole route. They tell me how many strokes I did a minute, my heart rate. It tells me my time. It tells me how many strokes of freestyle, how many strokes of breaststroke. So I be like swimming breaststroke, like where are we? So it's so helpful. I'm so happy I had it. The people who I swim with had one when I started. So I said, oh, I need one of those. I said, I'm gonna use on my birthday money.
Awesome. Noah, where are you training, considering where you are in Georgia?
Yeah, so it's been really difficult trying to get some open water time. But to make up for that, I've been training in Lake Alatuna. It's not far from me. And I had a friend up until recently because she has a sinus infection, so she can't get into the lake water. But for about 2 months, I was training in the lake, and yeah, we would drive up pretty much an hour and train there, but on the weekends. But throughout the weekday, I would train in the pool that's near me. But before I got so at first, before all that, I was driving about 40 minutes to go to a aquatic center because that was the only one open due to COVID. So I was training there for a while, but then I got a Y membership, so now I can just go right down the street. So I'm super happy about that, and yeah, so I've been training there every day. I've also been doing yoga sessions with our Howard University swimming. Yeah, Coach Jazz with she's a yoga instructor at Howard, and I also, what else have I been doing? I've been working out with friends as well. So we program like little dryland workouts, and we work out for about 30, 40 minutes, 3 times a week. And so yeah, it's been really tough. I really wanted to get some open ocean like Skylar, but I was trying to go down to Florida, but then the way Florida looking right now with COVID, I'm like, I don't know. And I'm just thinking about like safety and things like that. So I'm trying the best I can, but also I'm like running too, so I'm just gonna have to adjust when I get there. I'm gonna rely on Skylar. I'm gonna rely on her draft. She's gonna
right. Oh my draft.
But I'm excited. I'm super excited though.
So you just mentioned something that's really important. First of all, you both seem to have community that are supporting you in your training, beyond education, beyond all of these things, it's like that daily commitment to such a big goal. And achieving that in the middle of a pandemic is really something that is incredibly commendable to the both of you, to be as committed as you are. I say that as somebody who loves training, and there are some days where I'm just like, I cannot do this. So
I really want to wake up.
for the level of commitment that you've had. You know, thinking about the pandemic and how it's affected your training, like, you know, is there a mantra that you both have to kind of carry you through those moments where you're just kind of like, how is this actually going to go? You know, how is this actually going to go with what we're dealing with? So I'm curious about what do you say to yourselves when you just need to center and focus and continue?
I say, Skylar, do not embarrass yourself. Like, that's what I think to myself. All things aside, to just push me, because Noah is so tall, first of all. He's like a foot taller than me. So I'm like, no, I need to work 10 times as hard so I can beat Noah in this race. Like, so just the competitive side of me. And it's so, like, the new things. I like the new things. So I'm just like, ooh, like, this is new to me. It's completely different than pool training. It's so weird. But that's what just kind of pushes me. And I'm like, okay, you just have to get through 2 hours of your day. It's nothing. You can watch a movie in 2 hours and be like, oh, dang, I didn't do anything. So I'm like finding the small things. Like, I hate waking up early. I think because Coach Nick forced us to wake up early all this time, I'm just so used to it. But every time I wake up, I'm like, am I really about to swim today? But then once I'm there, I'm like so happy and I feel like so relaxed and so accomplished when I'm done. So just think about the aftermath. Don't think about it in the moment, is my advice.
That's cool. For me, it's really just like Skylar, it's like, well, if I get there, I'm not in shape, I don't know what I'm gonna do, you know? Like, it's a 3.5-mile race in the middle of the ocean. I can't rest on the wall or rest on the lay line. So, but really for me, I think I do have those days where I'm like, I do not want to go, or I do not want to train by myself too. Training by yourself is really hard. And it's really, really hard because you don't have that extra to push you through it. So, really, I think I more so rely on it as an outlet. If there's a day where I just kind of like want to take it easy, I do that. If I just want to have fun in the pool, I do that. I try to have as much fun as I can with the training. I like make my own workouts now too, which is really weird because I'm not used to making workouts. So I like put some random stuff in there, like just to like, I don't know, like
You used to make the workout. You used to make the worst workouts.
Yeah, I used to. Oh my. But it's none of that anymore. It's more so like just fun stuff. And I think it's fun anyway. But
he's like 3,000 on 10 minutes.
I was about to ask Skylar, give us an example of some of his
guys. So in off season, Coach Nick, he would we can send him a set. It has to be like over a couple, 2,000 yardage or whatever. But you can send them a set, and then we have a hat, and we will pull out the hat who said it was, just to add that fun in practice. And we're like, no, we better not get Noah. We used to be on the deck like, it better not be Noah. Because we'll say we'll do sprints, 25, something fun. No, it'd be like, no, 3,000, 4,000, all on a block, no breathing. The worst.
Yeah, so I used to love making practice hard.
But
I am all butterfly.
I do have a question for you guys. You know, I think that the way that you guys have approached, the way that the Gorée Project has approached an athletic event is really unique. And for the both of you, what you're learning about where you live, the history of where you are, the experience of the diaspora at large. What does it mean to bring it together? All of those questions are really complex. So taking that into consideration and thinking about the wealth of knowledge that's brought to your lives, would you want to commit to other athletic events with a similar approach?
Most definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think because I want to do this so badly is because it has this other. I'm not just swimming. I'm learning a lot more, so I feel like it adds a little more fun to it. So I was even looking at triathlons. I said maybe I'll be a triathlete. I said, but I can't run. I don't know what y'all. I said maybe I can do a team. Like, can I do a team? But yeah, I would love for more projects like this to come about since like this is all very new. So hopefully.
Yeah, same here. I was like, I was really interested in triathlons too. Actually, way before I started the project. But yeah, I would love to do something like this similar. I'm still gonna continue to swim even after this, especially open water, because I
Yeah.
fell in love with open water now that I actually got my feet into it. So, um, and then to have like the significant behind it also just motivates me because I know I'm doing something special to affect a lot more people than just myself. And so to answer that other question previously, that also motivates me because there's something that we can have such a good impact with this project. So I want to make sure I'm best prepared as possible.
Love that. So before Danny asks her next question, I know that our podcast and our platform is a multi-sport space, which essentially means we focus a lot on triathlon. For everybody watching and listening to this later, we did not prop them to say that. They said that on their own.
Yeah, I would not be saying
I'm here for it. We need more Black and brown people in the sport. That's why we created the space to share the story of folks in sports so they can be introduced to sport, to the sport that we love. But I wanted to make sure I got that in before you ask the next question.
Considering what you both said about open water and it being something that you now love, that you are now very familiar with, you understand the differences of the pool swims and pool training versus open water training. What's your advice to people listening who want to get into it but are afraid as a result of panic in open water? So yeah, from that perspective, what advice would you give people who are yearning to have the experience and yearning to love that open water swim the way that you both now do, but are afraid to do so?
For me, my biggest advice is go with a friend, go with a teammate. I've only been swimming open water for a couple of months, and I fell in love with it. One, because it's different from swimming, like lap swimming, but also because I did it with somebody else. And I think having that social connection and then also like enjoying it with that other person through the sport is just really powerful and motivates you to do things you wouldn't otherwise do before. So if you have a friend that you can reach out to, or even like on Facebook, there's several like clubs, like open water swimming clubs. And I'm sure there's triathlon clubs, either on Facebook or any other platform that you can connect with and like try to reach out to people and say, hey, like I'm new to this. I'm a little scared for open ocean water swimming, or I'm a little scared to run a marathon leg of a triathlete or something like that. Like have a friend go along with you so they can push you, but also just keep you company and kind of ease your fears.
Yeah, same with me. Just go with someone that you know you have fun with. That was my biggest fear. Cause I'm like, what if this team is mean and doesn't like to swim with me? So just having that positive vibes with you all the time, and just don't think too hard. Because when I swim, I'm like, if I see a fish, I'm swimming to shore. Like you're not gonna see me. So, because I've seen stingrays and dolphins, and I'd be like, ooh, and I'm like, okay, I'm okay. But so like don't think too hard, but also go with someone that you can have fun with that's still gonna push you. So, because I swim to the buoy and they're like all these like older people, they're like Skylar, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I have all these friends.
So I know, again, going back to like this new experience being in open water swimming, but you're doing it because of this important project, right? I'm curious about that. Why? Starting with you, Skylar. Why is it important for you to actually participate in this event and show up in the way that you're showing up?
My thing is, I hate the stereotype Black people can't swim. I'm like, just try. You can swim. I don't understand. So I like, even when I was little, I said, oh, I'm gonna make a swim clinic. Like I've always just wanted more kids to learn how to swim, especially black and brown kids. So I was like, okay, because when Noah first told me, I said, I thought I was done with swimming. I said, I'm done. I'm never swimming again. I'm burnt out. Then I'm like, okay, like he's like, come on, Scott, it's gonna be fun. I'm like, if it was, I don't think if it didn't have as much significance, I probably would not be going because it just means a lot to me. Just the mission behind Black Kids Swim, the mission behind this project. So that was good. I didn't really think about the swimming until I had to actually go to practice.
That's right.
Yeah, for me, it's really the majority of the same reason. We're trying to reverse those stereotypes. We're trying to encourage more people to learn how to swim, and then also experience what we experience and travel over there to Senegal themselves and experience their culture and their activities and even the race. And also another reason is to break down the stereotypes between African Americans and Africans. I think we don't know a lot about each other, and a lot of the information we get is from the media, and that's not always portrayed in the right way, and it's not always true. So going over there, meeting another group of people or people from a different culture and experiencing their culture, I think is super valuable, and I can gain a lot from it.
Love that. Love it.
So as you both know, we're going to be releasing this episode on a really important weekend of the entire year. You know, this year we've seen a national reckoning for Black lives, and we'll be releasing this episode on the weekend of the March on Washington for Black lives. And from that perspective, I know that Skylar, you're in LA, Noah, you're in Georgia, but we find it incredibly important to marry the mission of the Gorée Project, the meaning of the Gorée Project, the power building experience that it's been to have the educational piece in parallel with training, done impeccably during a pandemic, and make sure that your voices are heard here in the district in such a meaningful weekend, where we're all going to be here at heart together. And with that in mind, I kind of want to know a little bit more about how you've all been observing and absorbing the meaning of this year, and what it has been like to have that educational component deepen the meaning of what's happening here now. So that's kind of a layered and complex question, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I thought it was really important to see how you guys are reflecting on those two pieces.
Right. I guess I can go first. Yeah, so a lot has definitely happened this year. I think a lot of that we did not expect. And I think that the reason, I think it all came together at a really like crazy time, but it was like perfect timing, no pun intended. But like because the Black Kids Swim started this project. We heard about it in May, and they asked me specifically in May, and then they asked Skylar also early May, and that was before any of I believe it was before like George Floyd and the Black Lives Movement really started getting traction again. And it's just like, wow, like we were doing this, you know, even before Black Lives Matter got really trendy, but this was like already like a part of what we wanted to do. And it kind of just flowed into that. And so the Black Lives Matter movement has really also just brought attention to a lot of different things, but also we hope that it's going to bring attention to this, because this is, as Howard University swimmers, right? And also for Black Kids Swim, this is a part of who we are. And this is a part of what we're trying to become and trying to have an impact on the African American community and the African diaspora. So I really hope people tune in to what we're doing and watch our web series. Our first episode is going to drop soon. But yeah, for me personally, I've been seeing a lot of different things on social media, but also learning a lot of things as well. I mean, I'm a Black person, but you know, I don't know every single thing. So I think it's also for me, like, I'm also learning things that I didn't know about, and I'm having uncomfortable conversations with my friends about, and it's just, I think it's very eye-opening. And then to have it to go through with this project, and I'm learning so much information through this project, I think it's just so enriching. And so I'm really excited just to go over there, learn even more about it, and then also like try to convey to them what's going on over here. I think it's going to be important.
Yeah. When it all started, I was so like angry and overwhelmed. It was just so much going on, so many protests. I was out there with my mask. I was like holding up signs and stuff. It was just like so many high emotions, but I think it just fueled me to keep working harder for this project, just to make that first step in something that could be amazing. So in the beginning, I was like so mad. Like I feel like I had so much built up anger in me. But now that I'm so happy we're in this project now, I feel like I'm actually making a change. Like, yes, I can go march, but it doesn't feel like I'm really doing anything. So just having this project with me just shows me like, no, I'm in the right steps, making big change. 2020, 2020 vision, we're seeing a lot of things clear now. So we're just working real hard for that big change to come.
I really love what you said with regards to like feeling like you're making change. I think people have a perception of change as though it lives in one monolithic form, when in reality, everybody can bring change from really any angle that they are willing to commit to it in, right? So for example, in athletics, there's ways to talk about the way in which politics seeps into the world of athletics, and how racism also lives in the space of athletics, and how for specifically, athletes of color, these things are not separated. And I think that you both really just did a beautiful job at telling us, what that means for the both of you. So I'm really grateful.
Yeah, definitely appreciate that. But as you start to transition, and we like to keep these interviews about an hour, and we knew that this was going to take an hour, so if you're listening or watching this at a later date, appreciate you being patient. This is a really important story. We want to make sure we don't skim over anything. But we always have before we get into rapid fire questions, do you want to ask him? Do you have anything before we close?
I have one last question.
Okay, cool.
Listen, she bring the heat, so I'm gonna take a step back and just watch this masterpiece happen.
Guys, I kind of want to know. You knew who you were at Howard. You knew who you were as captains. You entered the world, the pandemic, this project. What has the project and this focus taught you about yourselves?
Ooh.
It has taught me that I have a lot to say. I thought I talked a lot, but that's like the first thing that came up my head.
What has it taught me about myself?
And I don't know a lot about myself also. Like
That's part of
That's a good question. I
yeah.
wanna marinate on it. It's a really good question.
very great.
Let me think for a sec.
Take your time.
I think yeah. So I think this project has taught me that, especially in the time that's going on today, that there's a lot that we do not know, and the more that you learn something, the more that you figure out how much you don't know, and it's just crazy. Like with the Black Lives Matter movement, you would hear like things like, Tulsa, Oklahoma, that instance, where they burned down like Black Wall Street and things like that. Something I never even knew of, and it's just like crazy. Or things like with this project specifically, like we talked to Dr. Kevin Dawson, and he wrote the book Undercurrents of Power in the African Diaspora. He talks about how Africans taught the Europeans how to swim. You know, they were the first swimmers. You know, the Europeans learned swimming from Africans, and so we did not know that. And so I think that's just super powerful, and like it motivates me to do this project even more because. And another fact is that they used to hunt what is it, alligators, hippos,
They were like
sharks
hunting hippos.
in the water. Like that's crazy. So if I go to Africa, I can't be afraid of a shark, right?
Right. A
Like,
shark
in
trying to
the
play
3.5
with me.
mile ocean. Like I can't be afraid of a shark because they used to hunt them back in the day. Like, so I think it's just like so powerful and motivating. Like I'm learning all these new things just with the Black Lives Matter movement and the Gorée Project. Yeah, it's definitely been an educational experience for me.
Yeah, for me it was like being that face is like super important. Having representation is so important. I learned that a little bit coming from Howard because people are like, oh, like who are your icons? Like who do you look up to? And I'm like myself, like my teammates, like because I look at my teammates and say, oh, they're really good. I want to be like her, but there's no one higher besides recently Simone Manuel, other Black swimmers out there, Colin Jones. So I'm like, I didn't have anyone to look up to that I could relate to. So now I'm realizing like, no, we need representation more than ever because if you don't see yourself out there, how do you think you can get there? So being part of this project is like, okay, we really need to work harder. Like we need to do something to just get Black people out there, get Black people more in the water, more in triathlons, open water swimming where you don't usually see us. So that's why I like it the most.
Thank you both.
Yeah, no, that was great. So as we transition into this rapid fire part of we always do this in our interviews, and this is going to be unique this time because Daniela, she's helping me with this interview. Usually she's behind the scenes. So in this part, we're just going to be bouncing off some questions, and you just think about whatever, answer however you see fit. But the first question that is a bit difficult, it's not difficult, but it's less of a rapid fire question, and it just helps us get into this quick question piece, is how do you define the perfect athlete? Let's start with you, Skylar. How do you define the perfect athlete?
The perfect athlete for me is a person who kind of just pushes your teammates or pushes the people around you. I don't see the perfect athlete as being the fastest person. I see them as having the most impact on your team or your partner, this, down, the third. So the perfect athlete to me is just that leadership person. Like you don't have to be the fastest swimmer to be the best swimmer or the best teammate, but you like telling me, Noah, you can do it, like 5 more strokes, or do not breathe between the flags. Like that's like the perfect athlete to me. To bring it short. So just pushing your teammates on, being that positive person. Don't be like, oh, I don't want to wake up today. Like, girl, I don't want to wake up either, but you don't need to say it. So just being that positive person to just make the atmosphere fun, because it helps not only you, but the people around you.
Yeah. Definitely, I definitely agree with all of that. Definitely motivating your teammates, and really just pushing yourself to the best person, the best athlete that you can be. But I also think it's part of finding balance between, your athletic life and then your personal life too. I think there should be a balance, and I think if you can balance those out, it will make you an even better athlete because you're mentally refreshed, you're mentally capable, and you can tune in when you want to. And so, like Skylar said, having fun with the sport as well, that's super, super important. I think that's what makes a perfect athlete.
Love that. All right. Well, appreciate that, and I'll let Danny go ahead and kick us off with our rapid fire.
Favorite meet?
Favorite meet?
Yeah, favorite swim meet.
Oh, swim meet.
Conference. Ooh, conference or homies? Any homies
Senior
or
meet.
conference?
Senior meet.
Oh, that's a good one. Senior meet.
Yeah, I got that one. Senior meet is the best. Like, it's the best.
So, what's your favorite thing to eat before training?
Oatmeal.
Skittles. Skittles are fruit snacks.
For breakfast, oatmeal. Something
yeah, he
light.
loves oatmeal. I like whenever I see a granola, I just grab it.
That's right.
What's your favorite meal after a 3-mile swim?
Oh my gosh. Anything I see. That's my favorite meal. I'm like starving. I feel like after I swim, I'm like, where's the food?
Right. We'd be running to the cab after breakfast.
Oh my gosh.
That's real.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah, really, anything for me too.
Who's your favorite athlete?
Ooh. Like just in general or in the swim world?
In general.
In general?
So
my favorite athlete.
I would say Kobe Bryant. Happy birthday to him. I would say Kobe Bryant or Simone Biles. Those two are my two faves right now. I used to want to be a gymnast, so like.
My favorite athlete. That's super hard. I really do not know. Can I say my teammates? Yeah, my favorite athlete. I look for like stroke technique and stuff like that, but really my teammates are like my best, the best athletes that are around me. So yeah, I have to say my teammates because they motivate me all the time. So.
Next rapid fire question. I'm curious. I'm trying to keep this short. What's in the books for 2021 in the world of athletics for the both of you?
I can't even tell you. I don't even know because I didn't think I was going to be doing this.
Yeah, she thought after conference it was over.
Right. I was so convinced. I don't know. I kind of just want to try a lot of different things because I didn't know open water was such a big thing. Like when I swim out, it's so many people swimming. I'm like, all y'all do this? Like for real? Like as a life thing? So I kind of just want to tap in a lot more things. I do want to try a triathlon, but I might really have to start with just a team for real. Like I do the swim, you run, and you bike.
That's a great way to get started.
Yep.
Hey. 2021 for me. I definitely want to continue swimming. I've been really collaborating with my teammates back home. We're thinking about starting a swim team or something. Yeah, so we're trying to get all that situated. But open water swimming is definitely going to be for me. Hopefully everything will blow over, but it will be a long time from now. But when everything blows over, will definitely get back into it, the swing of things, and open water swimming. That would be fun. I really like the idea of triathlons. I've been watching a whole bunch of YouTube triathlon videos. Like, it's really cool. I really like it. Like, going for 8 hours. Oh my gosh.
I don't know what is wrong with.
I'm sorry. I'm a distance person.
You do know that they have different distances. So you have the sprint triathlon.
I'm doing the
Olympic.
sprint one. Yeah.
So how
I've
long?
I've done my
is the sprint?
research.
How long is the sprint?
This
It's,
swimming is only like
about-
500 yards.
Yeah, 500 yard swim, about 12-mile bike, and a 5K run.
Oh, I can do
Yeah,
that.
see,
Yeah.
that's just like.
So is there like a middle distance?
So
Yeah,
sprint, Olympic, half, and full. So the Olympic is about, 1,500 meters, about 25-mile bike, and it's 10K run. And then the half is
long course. It is a 1.2 mile swim, a 56-mile bike ride, and a 13.1-mile run. And then the ultra distance.
it's the 2.4-mile swim, the 112-mile bike, and the 26.2-mile run.
Yeah, that's the one I've been looking at.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
would do
one.
all of them, but I'll probably work my way up. I'm not gonna just go straight into it.
Course.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
yeah, I've been looking at bikes and everything. I'm like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But we have a few more rapid fire questions. One thing that I'm really curious about is what songs are getting you motivated right now?
What? Can you repeat that again?
Songs.
Or what's your favorite song?
Oh my gosh. Whenever I swim, okay, I'm a huge Disney fan if anyone knows me, like obsessed. I sing Into the Unknown, the Frozen song, because I'm just swimming into like nothing. I'm like, Into the Unknown, and I'm like, yes! Or so it's only Disney songs in my head when I swim, because I just know them so well, and I feel like, yeah, I'm just gonna stop there.
I think I'm really like, I don't know, not normal, because I usually don't listen to like music to get me hype or anything. It's just really weird. But I guess like when I'm chilling, like I just listen to like artists like Drake or like Lil Wayne or yeah. So I'm not really like a person that like music hypes me up. I just kind of like, I'm more like a calm person before my race or before training or anything like that. So.
Yeah. All right.
I think I'm really curious with regards to like the amount of swimming, but also other sports that you guys have done. What's your strongest muscle?
Wait,
my
what's my
arms are strongest muscle. My arms, for real. I'm the pull-up queen at Howard. I love pull-ups. I would add weight and everything. I never use my legs when I swim, only of course in races. Like when I swim in the ocean, like my legs are just like this. Like they don't even. I use all arms, like my arms. So I guess like maybe like my traps or my lats are probably my strongest.
Yeah, same for me. I think this is something really conditioned me to like only have like a 2-beat kick or something like that, or like most 2-beat kick. So I really don't kick as much, and that's another reason why I really couldn't sprint. So, but yeah, I think it's my arms, my lats.
Yeah, I suck at squats.
So the last question that we like to ask everyone is kiss, kill, marry. All right. So if you had kiss one, kill one, marry one, swim, run, what would it be?
Wait, which one? Wait, what was it?
Kiss, kill, marry.
Okay, kiss, kill, marry.
First swim,
bike, run.
Oh.
Kill, run. Kiss, bike, marry, swim.
All right.
Yeah.
Murder, run.
Safety for me. Because like we had, I don't know, like we used to run around this huge reservoir for swimming early in the morning. And if you ran around it twice, it was like 4 miles, which is probably not too much for you guys. But for swimmers, It's a long time.
Then he's like, okay, now get in the pool. Get in the pool. I can't breathe.
My legs are on fire. My legs
Every day
are
I'm like,
cramping
please don't run the reservoir. Please.
up. Right? It'll be raining. It'll be
Right.
cold.
Because they'd be like, let's go. I'd be like, it is too early for this.
I love it. Again, I appreciate you all for you both for joining this conversation. For folks that want to figure out how to follow along, one, how can they connect with you? And two, how can they connect with Black Kids Swim? And then three, how can they connect with the Gorée Project?
Ooh. Got it.
Yeah, so you can go to blackkidswim.com to find their mission statement, what other projects they do. The Gorée Project link is there. We do have an Instagram page. It's called Gorée Project. I think it's just Gorée Project. You'll see Noah and I posting very soon.
Hey.
And you can just follow us, our personal Instagrams. I'm just Skylar_DRUE Drew. And I post a lot of my training things I do every morning on my story. We have a little highlight on our Instagram about it. And if you have questions, you can reach out to us or Black Kids Swim on their website. And yeah. Noah, say your Instagram.
I'm Noah. I'm Noah.Nicholas97. I'm not used to being famous.
Such an old person Instagram.
Right.
No, he is just not posting on Instagram. He had one photo, and it was me because I posted it.
Oh God.
So for my first picture was of Skylar, right? I didn't post till 3 years later when it was on my senior conference. So the followers that are following me right now, they are the true ones.
They some real ones for real. They were with you when you were down.
Afterwards, I love y'all, but y'all,
It was not there. I love it. And you also, in a conversation earlier, you mentioned about the web series. So one, tell us when is the web series dropping? And another question now I don't think we covered is, when is the Gorée Project?
Ooh. Let me go? Or?
Oh, you can go.
Okay. So the Gorée Project, I mean, the name comes from the Island of Gorée, right? So the Gorée Project is this mission to bring.
We said when.
Yeah.
Oh, you said when. Oh, I thought you said what is.
Oh, so I was I'm pretty sure we talked about
it. I'm sorry, my bad. So when is the Gorée Project? So we leave September 24th, and I think we come back September 28th. So the race actually takes place on 27th.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, what was your other question? Other part of the question?
The web series. When is that?
Oh, so yeah, there's gonna be 4 or 5 episodes, I believe, right now. It may extend more. But the first episode should drop very soon. We don't have a specific date, but it's probably gonna drop early September, I believe. But it's gonna be very soon. So definitely you gotta follow those Instagrams.
Yeah, you gotta follow some Instagram to find out.
There you go.
Follow, look on Black Kids Swim. Look on Black Kids Swim and make sure that you're following up with the dates and everything. But it's gonna be posted there. Or either on YouTube, but we'll have all that information on our Instagram pages, so you'll have it.
Cool. And we'll also, for everybody watching and listening to this at a later date, we'll have that show notes below. I'm pointing below because when you see this, it'll be below. Hear it, look below. And also another way that you can support, we are doing in support of Black Kids Swim, we are putting on a virtual 5K plus. So it's called PTM 5K for Gorée. So it'll be, instead of a 5K, it'll be a 3.5-mile run.
Wow, we love it.
Oh, we gotta do that, Skylar.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it. For folks that are able, you can give a suggested donation of $15. Why 15? 3.5, 3 times 5, $15. For folks that are not as good at math.
If you'd like to donate beyond the 15, that is also on the table. This is an incredible project.
Yeah.
So if you have the ability, that would be amazing.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Also, speaking of thanks, thank you both for joining this conversation. Thank you, Ebony from Black Kids Swim, for just allowing us to share the story of Black Kids Swim. Thank you, Brianna. She's been like a rock star in this and making sure everybody gets it. And last, thank you to our partners, Athletic Brewing Company, Not Alcoholic Beers. Shout out to Urban Athletic Club. If you're here in the DC community, you can come work out with us. What am I missing? Philly Bike Expo. The event's canceled this year, but always want to make sure we're shouting out them. And lastly, shout out to our newest partner, Aftershocks. Really great partnership. Really excited to see what's going to come from that. And if you want to follow us, my personal Instagram is shithappens215.
My personal Instagram is Mundo Perfecto.
All right.
It'll be in the show notes.
And as you know, our Instagram, our Strava, our YouTube channel, Perfect Time and Multisport. So stay connected. Let's continue to grow with each other and build a community in sports that we love. All right.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you.